I mean, I would say when I got to Orlando, I had a roommate straight away. I was living off campus and had a roommate straight away. And then I moved with two other people in Orlando to a house, different roommate than the one that was living in the first time. It was one of my closest friends that I'm still, two of my closest friends, one that I'm living with right now, and the other one that it's like in Oklahoma in the middle of nowhere now. But we're really close, all of those. I would say, and then I moved with my other roommate, which I've known him since like 2016. So we are all pretty close, like all three of us that are living together right now. So I would say being able to get the referral for it from him, it wasn't like he was my friend and all that stuff, and he did a favor for me. It was like, oh, you're like, I know you, and I'm just gonna do this for you because I want something in return. He just want, I just asked him like, hey, is there any like spots in your company that you can refer me to? And then he told me like, look up online a position that you like, and I'll refer you to it. And having a referral, I'll tell you right now, makes the things easier, makes the things smoother. Because I only did an interview with them because I had the referral, and then boom, I got the job. So I would definitely say like not roommates, but like having connections that will make you have referrals. It's like what people say that you do need to have networking. It's like it's the easiest way to get a job.
And do you think networking in our generation, networking can be done like online, you go to like events and everything. Do do you think networking from students to students was easy? But do you think also that the university in itself put enough focus on networking and was doing enough for the students to have the opportunity to network with outside people coming like for like different events or alumni coming for like the school and network with new students?
So networking in terms of my masters, it was really good. Like there was one specific class that every week we had a different spokesman like coming into the class that talked about their company, X, Y, and Z. And then at the end of the class you can actually connect with them. You can ask for like any positions, see if there were any roles open, and then he could see your face, he knows your face, and you have to make a good first impression and all that stuff. So I would say in terms of that, UM was really good about it. In terms of like networking with other students, not that much. Because there was not like many activities to network with other students unless you were like friends with. And yeah, I would say professionally, in terms of like bringing people into UM, it was really good about that.
Okay, interesting. And so students to students wasn't easy because like you had to be friends with people, but also because the like how the system works is that in your master's class you stay like with your cohort and then you leave off campus, so you go back like to your place or like we were working at the gym, so you go to the gym to work. But you think like in undergrad, being like an undergrad student, it's easier to network with other people due to the fact that you have so many different classes with so many different people, and then you have like I don't know, like frat parties, and you have events for undergrads, and you have like the sports game, like you have all these different things that are enabling you to have way more opportunities to connect with other students than you have like once you move up in like graduate school.
So you said UCF, right?
Like UCF or
Yeah,
you have
for UM,
any
right?
like the difference between like the undergrad student to student like networking and like friendship building relationship to being in graduate school?
Okay, so I would say UCF sucked with everything. Networking with professionals or networking with students. It's such a big school that they don't care. It's like it's one of the biggest schools in the US. So I got lucky because I networked my way around the system and I got a job at the UCF gym where I met everyone that I know over there. Everyone that I network with, everyone that became friends with, basically everyone that I knew, it was through the gym. My coworker, basically my friends over there that I knew because they were coworkers, yada yada yada. It was because of that job. If it wasn't because of that, EF doesn't push you to like network with other students. And in terms of uh, networking outside of students, in terms of like professionally, they sucked at it. It's such a big school that they don't care. To be honest with you, it's such a big school, especially in business, especially like the business faculty, that they just cannot put the resources necessary for every student to have a networking, you know, opportunity. And then in terms of those, UCF sucked. In terms of Miami, I already explained it. It was night and day difference because it's such a small school. Because I think like I don't know how many grad students are in Miami. I would say like 4,000.
I I dive.
Yeah. Anyway, it's 90% less of what UCF is. So they got the resources and they got the people, the teachers that know a lot of people outside that they can bring networking into the community of the and bring professionals that will help you develop those networking skills for you to, explore and take advantage of.
Interesting. Yeah, being in a big school is advantageous to a certain point because sometimes the school can't dedicate the same amount of attention to each student. And I imagine that like even at I don't know really how it works at, but I think like being in undergrad at UCF, like because it's such a big school and you have so many different students that even when you pass like from freshman to sophomore and like all the classes, you don't really have the same people in your class every time as well. So
No.
it's much more difficult to create connections, like great connections than being in a little like a big school but a smaller school in scale. Like the difference between UCF and
Yeah, so in terms of like my classes at UCF, so the way that it works in the first, I want to say 10 classes of business, since it's so big, you don't actually have a class. You have an online class where you need to show up once a week every 2 weeks. So it's like you only meet 8 times per semester since it's so big. And those were like the first 10 classes. And every class was with different people. Then you go into your actual major classes. And then, yeah, you might like it's around like 50, 60 people per class. Yeah, you might be able to like, share the class with like someone that like from the previous class, like maybe 2 to 3 people. But in general, it was pretty much like every class that you went to, it was like new people. Because it's such a big school that, it's just so many students
yeah.
taking the same classes. They open the classes and then you just take the hours that you like. If you are prepared enough and you go the day that they told you to go and choose the classes that you want. If not, you get screwed with the times that you don't want. And then yeah, the students are all new in the classes, like not new, but like new to you.
Okay, so to palliate with this I guess this struggle in a way to make like relationship. I talked like on the last episode with Basil, we talked about joining clubs and joining associations, being a student athlete helped him because he had this team around him and like it was much easier to build connection with his team. To palliate this struggle of building relationships, you mentioned you worked at the gym. Like I know you worked at the gym at
That
UF,
was my
you
club,
worked at
yeah.
the gym at UCF. Do you think like getting a job on campus, not like only at the gym, but like at the library or like in the administration, like getting a job, being involved with the campus in another way than just being a student and attending for school is helping you not only building a little bit of your resume, getting some, I guess, work experience and making some money on the side to like party or pay student loan or like anything you want to do with this money. But do you think like in addition to like the small things, it's on the bigger scale, it's also helping you a lot with meeting friends, just meeting friends.
Yeah, yeah, it's what I said to you. Like, frat was the people at the gym that I work with. It was the only frat that you got paid to be in. That's the thing. That's what we used to call it, like the welly frat. Basically, is the only frat that you got paid in to be in because we were very tight. Like everyone, like in the that we worked at the gym, it was like maybe like 300, 400 students. But they obviously didn't know everyone, but like most areas knew each other. Like maybe like the outdoor recreation knew people like in the I don't know, like outdoors that were from a different part of the gym, like a different sector of the gym. But inside the facility, we had the fitness people, we had the building managers, we have the member services. We all knew each other. Like we were all pretty close, and that's how you make connections. That's interest for me. That's what helped me make connections with people at UCF, and we all like became pretty close. We all became a family and all that stuff because it's what I tell you. Like whenever I first got hired to that gym, they tell you it's like, no, we're all pretty close here. We're like a family, and it's true because the way that we develop the relationships, the way that we see each other at work mostly every day, You just spend time with people talking to, you just build those connections up, and then that was quote unquote my extracurricular, that was quote unquote my frat, and that was quote unquote my club. So yeah, I think it is easier if you kind of not only are a student, if you also take the time to might be a club. I was never into clubs. I was never into like frats. I was never into like party and all that stuff that were like the frats. It might be easier if you get a job and you meet the people at the job and you spend time with people at the job. Any job that you want to find at school, you get pros mainly because you get money on the side, mainly because you also get a work experience, whatever it might be, and also you meet people. So it's a win-win in every situation.
Yeah, it's a great way to put it. You meet people, you build connections, you get paid for it, and you just
Yeah,
have like an extra line on your resume.
exactly. It doesn't hurt, you know. You
Yeah,
just don't have to be lazy and say I don't want to fucking work. That's it.
yeah, that's pretty fucking true. So, uh, I forgot my question. Yes, you're from Venezuela and you're also part Italian,
Yeah, so I have Italian citizenship.
Mr. Peroda. So do you think that as an international, like you can work right now, you can work basically in three countries. You can work in Venezuela, which I don't think you will go because of what you explained earlier, and the
I
geopolitical
mean,
situation is pretty bad right now. But like you could work in the US or in Italy or anywhere in Europe because Italy is a European country. You can work in France as you can work in Spain, Croatia, like all these countries in Europe. Why did you choose to stay in the US? You said you always wanted to come to the US for your college, but did you see yourself after college being like, I will stay in the US? Or do you think there is something that happened that well like this is my American dream. I want to pursue it as much as I can instead of going to Italy and discovering like another culture too, discovering another like workplace, discovering new people. Like, what made you decide to stay in the US after graduation and be like, I will struggle to find a job. It will be hard for the visa, but I want to pursue it instead of trying to discover something else at the end, too.
well, I always knew after like I moved from back home here, I was gonna stay here. In terms of like looking for a job legally. Stay here
Important to
legally,
emphasize, right?
like looking for a job after college. I knew that I wanted to stay here mainly because if you take a look at the salaries in Europe, they all kind of suck, especially in Spain, especially in like Italy. They're all really low. Yeah, the cost of living is low because it matches what people get paid over there. If you like look at the macroeconomic of Europe, their GDP hasn't grown in the last 10 years. It's stayed the same. Like it's gone down and up and gone down, but it hasn't grown. So I will tell you this: the U.S. is the country. If you want to come here and you find the ways to make it here, is the country that you build money, that you make well, because it's the only country that you can come from nothing and actually have a lot of money. The opportunities that it brings, the salaries that it brings, yeah, the cost of living here is high, but also like you have cities where the cost of living is like really low. So I'm saying Florida, I'm saying North Carolina, I'm saying yeah, like states that people don't want to go into, but it's not even states that people don't want to go into, like Texas. Texas is it's a great state to be in because the cost of living is low and the salaries are really high. So it's like if you come to America thinking that you are going to go to LA or to Miami or to any place that Chicago or New York thinking that I'm gonna make a lot of money and live off. Well, no, because the cost of living is really high. Those are the cities that you have to be in like the top percent to like just live comfortably. But there are other cities that if you want based on what you're looking for, especially me, I'm like looking for like places that are like next to the water because I like the beach, places with like mountains or like because back home we used to have a lot of mountains. Florida is flat, so Florida doesn't have mountains. It has nice beaches. Yeah, you can find a place that you make a shit ton of money, especially with the opportunity that is working remote, and also with the opportunity that the salaries are incredibly high here if you are a skilled person. So
So
yes, I stay here.
it's worth the struggle to make your way through here.
Yeah,
You know you will have more opportunities and more chances to create wealth.
yeah. I mean, it's people. I don't want to say people like international students complain that it is harder to get a job here, and it is supposed to be harder mainly because you are coming from another country and you're taking quote unquote taking jobs from Americans. Usually international students are more qualified because we do like put like more into school and we do learn more skills because we know we're gonna have a different more like a harder path. But it's I will tell you it's not as hard as people make it seem. if you have the skills that employers are looking for, if you don't waste time in college learning bullshit stuff, you will find a job because your employer will see the values and the skills that you bring. It's like I don't make excuses like, oh, I'm an international student, this is gonna be so hard. It's like, no, bro. It's like learn the skills that I know people are looking for. And in terms of like my area, it's coding, it's Power BI, it's Excel. Learn all those skills and you won't have a harder like you won't have a hard time that have hard of a time to find a job because they like employers don't look at you with a flag next to your name. They just look at you with the skills that you have, the skills that you can bring to the job. So once you have the skills that they're looking for, it's not as hard.
So that's an interesting point you're bringing on because we've seen that even though we have the skills for certain jobs that people require nowadays with AI and like the automation or like just the fact that when we're applying for a job in the US, we have to put are you authorized to your work in the US and will you need a sponsorship now or in the future? And
Yeah.
even though you were on an OPT right now or on an H1B, like any kind of visa, if you do need sponsorship in the future, you have to select like this case. Like you have to be like, I maybe you don't need now, but you will need in the future because you don't have a green card. So if you don't have a green card, you will need a sponsorship. And we have seen that because we do need a sponsorship in the future, even though we can have all the skills in the world, the automation in the resume selection will put us in another drawer, basically. There
Yeah.
will be a selection that is done directly from this question only to put us in another drawer.
Yeah.
Do you think even though we have this separation from someone that does need and someone that doesn't need a sponsorship, even though we can have the same skills, there will be more conflict for the company to hire someone, especially with the fact that even though the company has to sponsor, it's not 100% sure it's gonna cost the company money. And on an OPT, it's a time limit too.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. It's harder. It's not impossible, but at the same time, if you put the skills that the jobs are looking for, but you also have the experience, because obviously we know as students we don't have that much experience. That's why I went into my college years. I had like 3, 4 different internships with different people, and if you have the experience and like the jobs and the skills, that question that you're asking, like in terms of like if you need a sponsorship, it would pull you in another bucket, but still, if you have more skills than the persons that don't have in that bucket, the employer is still more likely will give you a chance to interview. Mainly because at the end of the day, if it costs them something, I don't know how much it is, like 15K, I want to say. If it costs them something to sponsor you, at the end of the day, they're gonna see that value of that sponsorship be nothing to the value that you bring to the business.
Even
To
the sponsorship is not 100% sure either.
Yeah, it's not 100% sure. At the same time, it's a risk that the employer has to take. It's a risk that the employer still is going to take with even if they hire someone with no sponsorship because they can suck. And then they would have to fire him. And then they would have to hire someone again. And it's the same training process, the same training money that you're losing. So at the end of the day, you still go with the more skilled person because they need skilled people in their jobs. So your job as an international student and my job was not only get the basic skills that the job is looking for, go above and beyond to look for more skills that the job might not be looking for, but they complement the skills that the job is looking for. So it's just putting the work. Basically, it's not complaining that I'm an international student. It's I have to answer this question. It's so hard for me. It's like no, you have to do more work because you're coming here from another country. That's already puts you at a disadvantage because people in this country look at you that you're stealing their jobs, which is not true. You just have to blow the skills that the job is looking for and the experience out of the water because at the end of the day, they will choose you.
I understand. Yes, that's definitely true. I mean,
Yeah, you just have to put
well,
in the work.
if you don't have any skills or you have just like the basic skills, like like any other
Any
person
American is going to
do,
have.
there is no benefit in the company recruiting. Like if you
Exactly.
bring something else that the company wants or the company is looking at like something valuable for not only for the job but for the even like just for the character that you will bring to the company, like the person that you are. If there is not a skills or a personality behind that resume, there is no interest in the company in just spending money for it.
Exactly. Like the company needs to get something out of it. If they're just getting a basic person, with basic skills and basic attitude, there's like a million Americans that can fill that role. So what's the point of just spending money on you? So you have to be better than that million Americans that are also applying for the job. You have to be better in terms of like skills, in terms of I would say experience, but it's most likely come down to skills. In terms of like having more skills than anyone else, having to put like have that attitude that you want to learn in the job, and also you want to prove to them that you are better than anyone else. That's it.
And do you think this still applies in the current like political situation in the US?
The
With
job
everything
market,
that's
like with
I'm talking
internationals.
about internationals mostly. With the current situation of the president saying you as an international students, you have to put like your Instagram, like your socials on all your socials on public if you want to apply for an F1 visa. Like there were like some visa schedule that were canceled. Like it's like it became harder over the last few months to get a visa or a visa approved to the US. So do you think like companies looking at this, and you said yourself, like with the tariffs that the president put in place, the company stopped hiring for that job. It wasn't only for international, it was for like all like people. But do you think like the current political situation make it even harder for us, like at the end of the day? Like it was hard as you said, but we can make it through if we want to. But in at this point, do you think like there is like just a gap that certain companies are looking at it and are looking like, even though this person has more skills and would be more valuable, the struggle of trying to get a visa approved is too much. Like the current political situations make it too much for a company to be like, yes, this is the skills we want. You're international, we'll pay for the visa.
Well, the thing is, like right now, the employers don't care about the visa because they're targeting F1 visas, not H1s. So it's a different visa.
F1, no, they're not only targeting F1. I know people with F1 visa. I know people on CPT and OPTs that got refused. That's like this month. I got
Yeah, 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 yeah.
visas that got refused too.
Yeah. Okay. Let me just put it like this: if you're applying for a job that needs sponsorship, it's a different visa than an F1. It's a different visa that the country quote unquote is not targeting. And if you look at the things that the administration is doing, which I tend to agree with, they are not targeting like students that are here that have a sense of, like a brain. They're targeting students that are here like are doing riots, are just being stupid. Because if you're coming to another country from to just basically protest things that are in your country, then just stay in your fucking country. Why are you coming to the US to protest things about your country? That makes no sense to me. It's like it was like me coming here into the US protesting about communism. And I'm like, the fuck do you protest communism in the US? Go to Venezuela and protest communism over there. It makes no sense in my mind that you be coming into the US protesting things that don't like they don't not that they don't affect you, but it's none of your business to protest.
Yeah, but
Like
look,
you are coming in. What?
what I'm like the people I know, like these examples, like one of them, like she's an MBA student in a big school in California, and she was applying for CPT for this summer. She got rejected.
Do you know the reason why?
What?
Do you know the reason why or no?
The US government doesn't give reason when rejected, you know.
Like that's the thing. Like
Like
CPTs.
the other guy, like the other one is a guy that was here on a J1 visa, and like it was renewable for one more year, tried to get it renewed, didn't go through. The other one is a kid that I know that is coming from France to the US on an F1. The F1, like they canceled the meeting. They canceled the interview at the embassy.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks. Don't get me wrong. It sucks. Obviously, it's unfortunate. At the end of the day, the U.S. has the last say because you were coming to the U.S.
Oh yeah,
Like
no, like
they
I
have the
totally
last
agree
say
with
of
that.
what you can do. It's like me coming into your house and saying, "Oh, can I use your fucking stove to cook?" And you have the last say of saying yes or no, and then I have to agree with whatever thing you say because I'm in your house. It's not like, "Oh, I'm gonna get pissed at you because you're not letting me cook," and then I'm gonna like set your house on fire, which is like an extreme case. But I'm saying like I just have to agree with whatever you say because I'm a visitor here. Because it's not the rules that I like, but it's the rules that I need to respect because they're imposed of me because I'm a visitor here.
Yeah,
And it's you
as
just have to
as a visitor and you're a guest, like to someone's house or like I mean,
Yeah,
in this case, like
like
someone's
country.
country, like you have to respect the rules of
Exactly. And
whatever.
then, yeah, it's just, it sucks that, I mean, some people are getting like their CPTs canceled or OPTs. We need those to get experience. Don't get me wrong. It sucks that it's happening. At the end of the day, we just got to live with it. We just got to figure out other ways that we can just, make it happen. Because even though the CPTs might not be working, there's other ways. If you're working in a college, you can go to your faculty and get a job in your faculty that will have the same experience that a job will. And then you can get it in your college and you don't need a CPT because it's inside your campus. You don't need CPT. So there's different ways to I don't want to say like go through the system, but there's different ways that you can work with the system, still like do everything legally and still get the experience that you want. Yes, it's is it harder? Yes, don't get me wrong, it's harder. At the end of the day, it's not about being harder or not, it's about you making it
I mean,
that.
honestly, I don't even think it's harder. I think it's just like a matter of the kind of experience you're going to retain from like is this work. It's like if you're going for a private company or like a big company, like in the Silicon Valley, instead of working like for your administration on campus, definitely like the experience won't have the same feeling on the resume and for you. But is it harder? I think on the contrary, like I think it's easier to get to be like, hey, I want to work on campus because like you're a student already. Like if you're already like working, like if you're already working at the gym and you just want like to work in the administrative side of the gym, like in the administration for the summer as like your experience for your CPT, I think it's easier because you already have the network for it. You know, like
Yeah,
you already have much to do. And working like I know a couple international students that did that like right after graduation is that working for like your campus or a campus like right after graduation is still like GOPT, but it's easier for you to get a visa and stay in the US after
yeah,
than if you're trying to go to a private company
yeah.
and work for it.
And then it's what you said. It might not the experience might not be worth the same as if you were to a private company outside with CPT. At the end of the day, you need experience. Whether it's going to be as valuable or not, you need the experience. So you cannot complain if they're giving you an experience inside the college or you're looking for an experience inside the college. Say you're a chemical engineer, you go to the chemical engineer faculty and you get a job doing or like a experience doing I don't know what the fuck they do, but under a professor you get a mentorship. Yeah, it won't be as much as getting a CPT internship under a company that's a chemical engineer company, but it's something that the employers will look at and be like, oh, he has experience outside of the classroom with professors doing experiments or whatever it is. In terms of finance, for me, I would say, oh, he has experience building financial models on the professors for projects that they for private companies on the outside. That's still a value experience to have, and you don't need CPT on it. It's what I tell you. There's different ways that you can still get around it. It's just it's not going about it by like, oh, they canceled my CPT, I'm getting fucked over, oh, I don't have any opportunities. No, you still have them. You just got to be smart about it.
Yeah, and to jump on what you said is like if you're like helping teachers, like a lot of the teachers in I think even in undergrad, like but in grad school, like they do like they make research papers. Like if you contribute to the research paper, like the professor is gonna mention you at one point. Like you're gonna have your name on the research paper. And if you're very good, like if you're in very good relationship with the professor as well,
Letter of
as
rec.
you said, like we have professor at UM, we had teachers that were working at the Fed, that were working at Citadel, big like financial companies or like government like side. Like if you have a relationship with this person and they still know people in the industry, it can be a way easier path to then
Yeah.
to the job you want to get because they know like the companies will know you have a great experience and you will have the inside resources from the professor with the networking to get to the job you want to get.
Like it's what I'm telling you. There's ways to if they cancel a path, if they close down a door, there's still like different doors that you can take.
And I was watching Suits. It's like when the guy in suit is just like when you have a gun pointed at your head, there's not only black and white, there's like 146 other options.
Yeah, like
Exact same. There's always a path to build your
yeah, it's just like
work and find
you
your
just gotta think, be like you just gotta use your brain and think and be like, okay, how can I get out of this and still get ahead of like ahead of my situation? Like how can I, if they cancel my CBT or OPT, well, OPT is different. If they cancel my CBT to get an internship, how can I still get experience for my undergraduate? That will help benefit me for my OPTs. Like there's different ways. It's like, yeah, an internship is valuable, but there's different ways. And trust me, right now, when I say you this, employers don't care about that much about internships anymore.
They want experience and skills.
Yeah, they don't care about that.
Especially in the business side of it, you need coding skills.
Yeah.
If you don't have like a little bit of proficiency, at least with Python or SQL or VBA, and you're trying to get your foot in finance, you're fucked.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. You just gotta build those skills, and even like with you, like business, they ask about Python. I would go or SQL. I would go a step out and learn R Studio because statistical analysis that will go great with finance. I would learn if BBA. I don't know what BBA is. I was like,
Macro in Excel.
okay, there we go. So I was gonna go like I didn't know the names. If they ask you for BBA, Excel, I will learn Power BI, Macro and Power BI, because Power BI is more powerful than Excel, and it works hand by hand with Excel. But the syntax is easier. It's easier to use, to make more metrics, to make more measures, and it's easier to modify than actual BBA on Excel. So it's just saying you don't need to, or not only go for the basic skills, go for skills that complement and will look good on your resume.
We have 3 minutes left. All right, the last 3 minutes, give me your take on the current American dream for international students. 3 tips that you have from your experience to achieve it.
It is possible, like in terms of like the international dream, the American dream. It is possible. Like it is harder, yes. Don't make excuses about it though. You just gotta go there and work harder than the American person, because the American dream is built for Americans. It's not built for internationals. It's built for like everyone that comes into the US, yes, but it's mainly built for Americans. So 3 tips that I would give people is just find a way to, if they close the door, like the CPT thing that we talked about, find a way to still get some experience. There's different ways you can do it, especially if you're in college. Learn more skills than the basic skills, learn complementary skills, be really good at them. Just don't learn the basics, put in the work to be proficient in them. If you're proficient in Excel, if you're proficient in Power BI, I'm talking about business right here. If you're proficient in coding, SQL, don't learn just the basics, because everyone can learn the basics. Everyone can apply the basics. Be more proficient. Be the person that goes to your manager and be like, oh, you can do this differently, and then show them that you know a lot about it, not just the basics. And then a third tip is just build connections. Build connections with people that you know. Build connections with your professors. Build connections with anyone that you can think of that is in the same industry, because at the end of the day, those connections will make it easier to get inside the industry. That's it.
Perfect. Thank you very much for your time, Sergio.
Yep.
And thank you for the wonderful tips you gave. I think it's going to be a very, very nice episode for everyone to watch, and very interesting, especially for people coming from South America that wants to come to the US to study and build their American dream.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for having me, my boy. Yes, sir. I'll talk to you later.